Series 2, Day 3. I did not sleep for 2 days. I want you to understand what that does to a person. By the end of Day 2, my hands would not stop trembling. My eyes felt like someone had pressed hot coins against them. Every sound made me flinch so hard, I bit my own tongue twice. The kind of exhaustion that does not just live in your body, but crawls into your mind and starts pulling things apart, making you see movement in shadows, making you hear voices in silence, making you question every decision you have ever made that led you to this moment alone in a locked house, in a dead town, with something outside that you cannot name. I had moved away from the kitchen on day 1. Too many windows. I set myself up in the hallway closet instead. Small space, one entrance, no windows. I brought every piece of food I could find, 6 cans of soup, half a loaf of bread, a box of crackers, 3 bottles of water, my phone, 2 flashlights, extra batteries, and my heart medication. I sat in that closet with the door pulled almost shut, and I listened. And what I heard over those 2 days was the most terrifying education of my life. I learned that it moved mostly at night, but not always. During the day, it was slower, like it was still adjusting to the surface, to the light, to the air up here that was clearly different from whatever it had been breathing for however long it had been down there in the dark. I could track its movement by the vibrations in the floor, a slow, heavy rhythm, one step every several seconds, patient, unhurried, like something that had nowhere to be and all the time in the world to get there. I learned that it was enormous. On the morning of day 2, I heard it pass directly outside my house, and the vibrations were so strong that the cans of soup rattled against each other in the dark, and I had to grab them with both hands and press them against my body to stop the noise. Whatever was walking past my house out there was not the size of a bear or a truck or even a house. It was bigger than anything I had a reference point for. The kind of size that your brain refuses to fully process, because accepting it would mean accepting that you are approximately the size of a mouse in comparison, and nothing good has ever happened to a mouse. I learned the most important thing on the night of day 2. I had been in the closet for almost 40 hours, and my heart had been behaving itself, staying low and steady, because I had been doing everything my cardiologist ever told me to do. Slow breathing, no sudden movements, keep the mind as calm as possible. I had been whispering the words of every song I could remember from beginning to end, just to give my brain something gentle to hold on to. I had gotten through 17 songs. Then something stepped onto my porch. One step, then another, then the slow, heavy creak of the porch boards under a weight that should not have been possible for a wooden porch built in 1987 to support. I heard the wood begin to splinter and crack under whatever was pressing down on it. I heard the porch railing snap like a dry twig, and then I heard breathing right outside the front door, so close, so slow, like the breathing from the crack in Founders Square, but louder now and deeper, and so low it was less a sound and more a pressure against the inside of my ears. My heart went from 60 beats per minute to 140 in approximately 4 seconds. I felt it happen. That is what people who do not have my condition do not understand. You feel your own heart lose control. It is like an engine suddenly revving with no driver. Your chest fills up with this frantic hammering, and your whole body shakes with it, and there is nothing you can do to stop it except breathe and wait and pray that it decides to come back down before it decides to go higher. I pressed both palms flat against my sternum. I closed my eyes. I counted backwards from 100 in my head. I breathed in for 4 counts and out for 4 counts, and I begged my own heart like it was a separate living thing that I was responsible for. Please, please be quiet. Please do not let it hear us. Because I knew with absolute certainty in that moment that it could hear heartbeats. I do not know how I knew. Maybe it was the way it had stopped directly outside my door without any other signal that I was inside. No light from my flashlight, I had turned it off hours ago. No sound from me, I had not moved or spoken. No smell that I was aware of. The only thing that could have told it something living was inside that house was the sound of my heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape. I counted, I breathed, I begged. 100, 99, 98, 97. The porch creaked again, still there. 96, 95, 94. My heart rate came down, slowly, painfully slowly, like trying to stop a freight train with your bare hands. But it came down. 80, 70, 65. The breathing outside the door slowed. 50 seconds later, the porch creaked one more time, and the vibrations in the floor told me it was moving away, slowly, back toward the street, back into the dark. I sat in that closet and shook for a long time after that. Then I did the only logical thing a person can do when they discover that a creature the size of a building is hunting them by the sound of their heartbeat. I opened my notebook and I started making rules. Rule 1. No running. Running spikes your heart rate faster than almost anything else. No matter what I see, no matter what happens, I walk, slow and steady, always. Rule 2. No surprises. Before I move from one space to another, I have to know exactly what I am moving toward. No opening doors without listening first. No turning corners without stopping first. Surprises cause panic. Panic causes my heart to spike. A spiking heart is a dinner bell. Rule 3. Always have an exit. Never put myself in a space with only one way out. If it comes in, I need to be able to go somewhere else. Rule 4. The medication. I have enough with my heart medication for 14 days if I am careful. I take it exactly on schedule, no matter what. Missing a dose makes everything harder to control. Rule 5. Stay alive. That one sounds obvious, but I wrote it down anyway because on day 2, there were moments when staying alive felt like the hardest and least logical option available to me. On the morning of day 3, I decided I could not stay in my house anymore. I was almost out of water, and the nearest place with a supply I could realistically reach was the church 4 blocks away. Pastor Williams kept cases of bottled water in the basement for the annual summer fair. I knew this because I had helped him carry them down there every July for the past 6 years. 4 blocks, in daylight when it moved slower, following my rules. I spent 2 hours preparing. I dressed in dark clothes. I took my medication. I ate half a can of crackers to keep my blood sugar stable. I checked my heart rate on my phone's health monitor until it read 62 beats per minute and had been steady there for 15 minutes. I took 3 slow, deep breaths. Then I opened the front door. Caldwell Street looked like a photograph of itself. Everything exactly where it should be, except completely absent of any human presence. Cars and driveways, sprinklers running in Mrs. Patterson's yard like she had just turned them on and gone inside, a half-eaten breakfast visible through Tommy Briggs's kitchen window across the street. The whole street preserved in the exact moment that everyone disappeared, like a town-sized snow globe that someone had just stopped shaking. I stepped off the porch and started walking, slow, steady, eyes moving, breathing in for 4 counts and out for 4 counts. My heart rate 62, 62, stay at 62. I made it 1 block without incident. The silence was so complete I could hear my own footsteps on the pavement, and it terrified me, so I moved on to the grass verge and kept walking. Halfway through the 2nd block, I saw Kevin. He was standing in the middle of the road, about 50 feet ahead of me, just standing there, facing away from me, completely still. I almost called his name. My mouth was already open. Then something stopped me. Something about the way he was standing. Too still. The way the patients in the sleep study story stood too still, like a person-shaped thing that had forgotten how people move when they are just standing somewhere. I stopped walking. I stood completely still on the grass and I watched him. He did not move, not even slightly. No shift of weight from foot to foot,
no turn of the head, no rise and fall of his shoulders from breathing. 62. Stay at 62. I took one slow step backwards, then another. I moved behind the nearest car and crouched down and watched him from behind the wheel arch. For 4 minutes, Kevin did not move a single millimeter. Then his head turned, slowly, all the way to the right, further than a human head should be able to turn, and I heard a sound that I will never get out of my head for the rest of my life, however long or short that turns out to be. A sound like a heartbeat, but not a human heartbeat, something slower, something older, something that was using the memory of a heartbeat the way a spider uses a web as a trap. Kevin's body collapsed straight down, like every bone in it had just dissolved, and what rose up from where he had been standing was something